me ask, does everyone have a pair of scissors with them? Okay. One of the easy ways to do it is to measure what your 5.5 to 6 inches are, and then you cut all the way down. And if you do it like that, then the only thing you have to do from that point is just clip the width. And then you don't have to keep trying to measure over and over. Well, if you think you could strip it, and you know, some fabric is tough, so you can't really tear. But the ones that you're able to tear, you can certainly do that. You're probably going to end up with some jagged pieces, but that really doesn't matter so much with rag quilting. Oh no, it doesn't. That's the wonderful thing about rag quilting. It does not matter. We don't throw away anything.
Tear this way. Cut it.
Make all your long strips first before you start cutting your pieces. So when you cut one and you have your first template that goes all the way down the length of the fabric, then lay it on the fabric again and cut it all lengthwise. And then you can put 2 or 3 pieces on top of one another.
Do you mix your fabrics like
Oh yes, I do. Whatever I have that's available. Don't just use cotton. Actually, I brought some things that I'm working on, so I'm going to show you while you cut.
Top it out and get down there. No, I can't. I know she wanted us to make that house big.
Right. Thank you. One of the ladies asked the question about using different textures of fabric. I use everything. I brought some today, and then the edges, sometimes you have those little ranges of color and this little white strip on the edge. Now, some people don't use that. I use everything. I don't throw anything away. Oh, okay, ladies. Well, we're going to do, because that's going to be entirely too much work for you to do. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to open it, right. All right, so instead of cutting a strip like that, what we're going to do is we're going to cut that. So you have cut it all the way down. So when you get ready to cut your individual strips,
See, I just thought I had to keep cutting my hair.
Oh, no. You can do it that
That's
way.
okay if they're not.
The young girl is starting. Or you can do this.
It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. Oh, it's all material.
But I'm only going to do that on
This pillow is not Bessie Mae, though they look alike. This one is Essie Mae. This is Bessie's cousin. So at some point before this year is up, I will get over there to Mount Pleasant and I will give Jonathan his look-alike to the Bessie Mae. Oh, no, you should let me know. Okay, so ladies, we've got like, say, we'll do this maybe 8, 9, 10 more minutes. Okay. If anyone needs any help, let me know. I'll help. But while y'all are working, you know what I'm going to do? I'll sing you a song a little later. I got to think of one that I know. I'm one of these people who tend to know the chorus and not the rest of the song. Okay, so ladies, as I told you earlier, I'm a storyteller. It's a good time for me to tell you a story. So as we wind down to our segment, because I think everyone's about finished, then we're going to move into actually working the piece. I'm going to tell you this little story called, I think we'll do a short one now, because I'll save the one. No, I'm going to tell you that. That's what I'm going to tell you that. In Gullah, the story is called Kumyan Binyan. Now the story goes a little like this. It said, Sir, he said, "Bin you better look to the one and see that thing gonna do." So this yard, see, time with her. Shh, take that away. Well, look, I'm Charlie. Way down, you sit up here, it's not that thing to a thing, bin you better. Shh, take that away. We're not singing in the geese, the other bin you better. Shh, take that away. They call me out when I've been singing. But sing that thing, me to do that thing tag for her. Sir, do not sing me, look at the feed, mister. Don't you really phone that sing me. But let me down for the rook me, and if I sing that thing, me to do it. Do not sing better. You really phone not sing better. But this better rock me and not sing better. Stomach use and if I don't have it, then skate me at the face. Ain't no opinion better. I need to drive a door. That sing better. Wind in the shh. Trees into the skin. I breast up a freeze. Not sing better. Wood is in room and I walked at the freeze. Nothing that the The story is called Come Here and Been Here. Now you see, Come Here was a young, feisty thing that was always in the yard just mixing up and throwing up dirt and just always causing some kind of confusion. You see, Ben here used to look through the window and see him do it. So this one day, Ben here walked over to Come Here and said, "You know what? It's time to take to the wind. It's time to fly further south." Oh, Come Here said, "Oh, no. I'm not leaving. I like it here. The weather's nice. There's plenty of food. Oh no, I'm not leaving." Well, you see, Ben here didn't waste a second trying to convince him that he needed to leave. He simply started flapping his wings and took to the skies and started to fly away. And when he looked over his shoulder, all the other Ben Heres were flapping their wings and taken to the skies. Well, Come Here was so happy because when he looked around, all he saw was all of them gone. Well, he was so happy he didn't know what to do. So first he started dancing. And he'd dance and dance and dance. And then he'd look at the food that he couldn't eat when the Ben Heres were there. And he didn't just start eating. He'd walk around sucking down the food. He'd go till he'd eat his stomach full, and then he'd go to sleep. Well, you see, each and every morning, he'd do the same exact thing. He'd get up celebrating that the Ben Heres were gone by dancing, and then he'd eat his stomach full and then go to sleep. But this one morning, as soon as he stepped out of his house, it was so cold until the feathers on top of his head stood straight up in the air. frozen stiff. And then it hit him what Ben here meant when he said, it's time to take to the wind. 'Cause Ben here had been here a long time and had seen many winters. But now Come Here had just got here. He had never seen a winter. So he tried to do the same thing that he saw Ben here do. He started flapping his wings really fast and shot himself up to the sky. But what he didn't understand was this. If it's cold enough on the ground to freeze your feathers stiff, it is much, much colder in the sky. So when he shot himself up to the sky, his breast started freezing. Well, he thought he could turn around and get away from the cold. Then his back started freezing. Then he started falling to the ground just like a rock. He was sure he was going to die. Because if he didn't die from that long fall from the sky to the ground, he certainly was going to die from being frozen to death. So he didn't ask God to save his life. He started saying, "Oh Lord, please, save my soul. Oh, please, take my soul to heaven. Forgive me for all the mean and rotten things I've done in my life." And as soon as he said that, bang, he hit the ground. He landed so hard he cracked a hole in it. And the cow just stepped right over him and right on top of him. Oh, Come Here was as happy as he could be. Because you see, he didn't die from that long fall from the sky to the ground. And now, this warm stuff was thawing him out. He was going to live, so he wanted to get it all over. So he started twisting and mixing. But in the pasture, there was a cat. And the cat came through the pasture every day. And it would see the big piles of cow nanny here, cow nanny there, cow nanny everywhere. But it had never seen Nanny that moved, and this one was moving some. So it ran over and started picking at it. And he kept picking at it. And he kept picking at it until finally he uncovered Come Here. And what did he do? He ate it. Okay, so ladies, it's work time. Fold the fabric over the tip of the nail, probably about 1/4 of an inch, and then push it inward through the burlap, then push up. When you push up, pull the nail out, and then it should look like this. And then tie 2 knots. It's as simple as that. The 2 knots, because if you only tie one when you wash it in the washing machine, it'll work itself out. But that's how it's done. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's about time for us to wind down the Community Rag Quilting Preservation Initiative. We have gone from the A to Z of rag quilting, from the cutting to the design, and now we are actually going to try and finish this piece before the day is over. So I'd like to thank all of you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you at the next Community Rag Quilting Preservation Initiative, which will be at Funville on February 23rd. You need to come out. You too can learn how to make a rag quilt and keep this Gullah fiber art tradition alive. So I know I'll see you there. Remember, Funville, February 23rd, starting at 12 noon and going all the way to 7 o'clock. See you there.